When someone vanishes, families desperately seek answers. But the case of Suzanne Morphew is unlike any other. From the outside, her life in Salida, Colorado, seemed idyllic. A beautiful, active woman, a loving wife, and mother to 2 daughters. Yet beneath the surface of smiling photos, a hidden narrative of marital discord and secret affairs simmered, eventually boiling over into a perplexing disappearance that captivated a nation. It was Mother's Day, May 10, 2020. The picturesque mountains of Colorado, a landscape Suzanne Morphew, embraced with her passion for mountain biking, held a dark secret. Suzanne, 49 years old, had reportedly set off for a bike ride and simply never returned. Her disappearance sparked an immediate and widespread search, igniting a fervent hope that she would be found alive. Suzanne, originally from Indiana, had moved to Colorado in 2018 with her husband, Barry Morphew, a rugged business owner and avid hunter, a man's man, as some described him. They had 2 daughters, Macy, 16, who lived at home, and Mallory, a college student. On the surface, the Morphews presented a picture of happiness. Every photograph showed a family smiling, laughing, seemingly full of love. Yet, as investigators would soon discover, this perfect facade concealed a turbulent reality, a husband's alibi, and a curious absence. On May 9, 2020, the day before Mother's Day, Barry Morphew claimed a rare moment of marital bliss. Despite prior tensions, he told investigators they had enjoyed a pleasant dinner and even made love. He stated that the next morning, Mother's Day, he left for a job site 3 hours away in Broomfield, near Denver, while Suzanne was still sleeping in their bed. That same Mother's Day, their daughters were away on a camping trip. This immediately struck family members as odd. Suzanne, who reportedly had no other plans, was suddenly alone, with both her husband and daughters out of town. Barry himself had text exchanges with his daughters but received no reply when he texted Suzanne to wish her a happy Mother's Day. Concern grew when a neighbor, contacted by Barry, reported that Suzanne's car was still at home, but she was nowhere to be found. Barry suggested the neighbor look for Suzanne's bike, as she was an avid mountain biker. The bike wasn't found by the neighbor, but local law enforcement soon located it. The mountain bike was discovered at the bottom of a ravine, prompting initial fears of a kidnapping. Barry Morphew made a tearful public plea. "Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back." However, investigators quickly suspected the scene was staged. Suzanne was relatively new to mountain biking, and while an accident was plausible, her helmet was found roughly a mile away, off Highway 50, on the opposite side of the road from where the bike was located. This suggested it might have been thrown from a moving vehicle. Furthermore, Suzanne's sunglasses, hydration backpack, driver's license, and credit cards were all found in her Range Rover, implying she might not have gone on a bike ride at all. Only her cell phone was missing. 10 days into the investigation, a crucial piece of technology surfaced: a spy pen. Discovered in the master bedroom of the Morphew home, this device looked like a regular pen but recorded conversations. It was revealed that Suzanne had been given this spy pen to record Barry, hoping to catch him in an affair. The spy pen, far from incriminating Barry in an affair, backfired. It contained a recorded conversation between Suzanne Morphew and a man named Jeff, clearly her lover. The identity of Jeff was unknown at first, but this discovery added a complex new layer to the case, shifting the focus from kidnapping to a potential crime of passion or a love triangle. Investigators, with the help of law professor and former defense attorney Anne-Marie M. Gober, painstakingly tracked down Jeff, a task made difficult by Suzanne's meticulous efforts to hide the affair. It took agents 6 months to find him. Jeff was identified as Jeff Libler, a married man with 6 children living in Michigan. Their connection wasn't new. Suzanne and Jeff had a one-time fling after high school, decades prior. In 2018, after Suzanne and Barry moved to Colorado, Suzanne reached out to Jeff on Facebook with a simple, "Howdy, stranger." From that moment, they spoke almost daily, a secret 2-year affair blossoming across state lines. They met in person in various states, from Louisiana to Florida, exchanged intimate photos, and even discussed becoming husband and wife, entertaining the idea of moving to Ecuador to start a new life together. When investigators finally located Jeff, he admitted to deleting his social media accounts used to communicate with Suzanne, fearing the revelation of the affair would tarnish her memory and jeopardize his family and job. He was also concerned about becoming a suspect. However, he fully cooperated, providing access to his DNA, phone records, and passwords for his deleted accounts, which allowed agents to piece together the full extent of their relationship. Jeff's alibi for Mother's Day weekend checked out. He was in Michigan. He was ultimately cleared as a suspect. The love affair between Suzanne and Jeff became a central focus, particularly the messages exchanged on Saturday, May 9th, the day before Suzanne was reported missing. Records showed 59 messages between them that day, far more than usual. At 2:05 p.m., Suzanne messaged Jeff, "I'm just in love with you." Jeff's response, at 2:06 p.m., suggested a desire to strip down and get naked. Suzanne replied, indicating she would load up her WhatsApp account. Then, at 2:26 p.m., a text from Barry arrived for Suzanne. "Done, headed back." Suzanne did not respond. Investigators speculate this was around the time Barry returned home. They noted unusual activity on Barry's cell phone, which appeared to ping all around the outside of his house. Was he chasing Suzanne? When investigators questioned Barry about this peculiar phone activity, he offered a bizarre explanation. "I was probably walking around my house shooting chipmunks." This chipmunk alibi quickly became a major piece of incriminating evidence against him, not least because there was no physical evidence of any chipmunk shootings. Barry Morphew's repeated interviews with investigators, between 30 and 40 in total, all without a lawyer only, seemed to dig him deeper into a hole. While he denied knowing about Suzanne's affair, a deleted text recovered from his phone, sent by Suzanne just days before her disappearance, suggested otherwise. "I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." This text provided a powerful motive. Barry may have lost it when Suzanne finally declared she was leaving him. Authorities theorized that, knowing his daughters were away on a camping trip, he seized the opportunity to kill Suzanne and clean up the crime scene. On May 9th, 2020, from 2:47 p.m. to 10:17 p.m., nearly 8 hours, Barry's phone went into airplane mode. Authorities believe this was the time he spent disposing of evidence. Unable to track his cell phone, investigators turned to a cutting-edge technique: digital vehicle forensics. They pulled data from Barry's Ford truck, and what the truck revealed painted a very different picture from Barry's narrative. Ben Lemire, CEO of Burla Corporation, an expert in vehicle forensics, explained how their software taps into the dozens of computers in a car, providing data accurate enough for court. A Burla report created from Barry's truck data showed movements that contradicted his statements. While Barry claimed he went to bed around 8 p.m., on May 9th, the truck's data showed it was put in reverse and moved 96 feet closer to his house around 9:30 p.m. Investigators theorized this was when he could have loaded Suzanne's body. Barry initially stated he set his alarm for 4:30 a.m. on Mother's Day and left by 5 a.m. for Broomfield. However, the truck's computers indicated someone was opening and closing the doors around 3:30 a.m., suggesting an earlier departure. There was a critical 4-hour gap from approximately 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., where no activity was recorded by the truck's computers. This was the window where investigators believed Barry could have hidden Suzanne's body, though the data itself did not provide answers, as it can be overwritten. Barry's own admissions helped fill some of these gaps. He told agents that upon leaving his home, he took a left instead of a right because he remembered seeing some elk, and as a hunter, he wanted a closer look. This admission was significant because it placed him in the very area where Suzanne's bike helmet had been recovered. Investigators believed he could have been discarding the helmet at that point. At 8:10 a.m. on Mother's Day, the truck's computers and Barry's cell phone came back to life. Agents tracked his movements, noting he first pulled over at a Broomfield bus stop to discard something in a garbage can. He then continued to a hotel trash can, a McDonald's trash can, a dumpster in a Men's Warehouse parking lot, and finally back to the hotel dumpster. Investigators believe these trash runs were his way of disposing of evidence in different locations across the Denver area. Surveillance footage captured Barry on one of these runs, though it didn't show what he was throwing away. Barry claimed he was just being cheap, not criminal, stating he always had a lot of junk in the vehicle and preferred to dispose of it in public bins rather than paying landfill fees. This explanation, however, raised suspicion. Why 5 different trash locations for junk? After checking out the work site, Barry returned to his Holiday Inn room, staying until after 6 p.m. By then, he had spoken to Mallory, who couldn't reach her mother. This led to the neighbor being contacted, finding no sign of Suzanne, and ultimately, Barry asking the neighbor to call 911 to report Suzanne missing. Barry didn't head home immediately. He dropped off tools, including a shovel, for his co-workers, arranging hotel rooms for them, and even letting one worker take over his room. This employee later told investigators that Barry's checked-out room had a strong smell of chlorine or bleach, suggesting a possible cleanup of a crime scene. As Barry drove back to Salida, he spoke with sheriff's deputies who informed him they had found Suzanne's bike. He arrived at the ravine where it was found around 8:40 p.m., and investigators noted he appeared emotional for a few minutes. By Sunday night, Suzanne's daughters were home, but their mother was gone. Barry offered a $100,000 reward, later doubled to $200,000, for information leading to Suzanne. However, investigators found numerous texts from Suzanne to a close friend that painted a grim picture of her marriage. "He won't speak of divorce. I feel no peace when he's here. I wouldn't feel safe alone with him." Barry quickly became the prime suspect, a common occurrence when a spouse disappears or is murdered, as statistics show. A small, crucial item became significant: a clear plastic cap found in the family's dryer by a forensics team. Prosecutors theorized this cap was from a syringe used to fill a tranquilizer dart. Their theory was that Barry, after snapping and deciding to murder Suzanne, used a tranquilizer dart, like those used on animals. No working tranquilizer rifle was found, but Barry had told investigators he was an experienced tranquilizer dart shooter, having illegally sedated deer to remove their antlers for sale. Photos of his garage showed deer heads and antlers, bolstering this claim. Experts stated it could take 4 to 20 minutes for a deer-sized animal to drop after being shot with such a dart. Agents theorized that Barry's phone pinging around his house wasn't due to chipmunk hunting, but rather because he was chasing Suzanne after he shot her. Andrew Caters, CEO of Animal Care and Equipment Services, confirmed that for a human, such a dart could be lethal. Scratches observed on Barry's left arm also bolstered the theory of a confrontation. With circumstantial evidence mounting Barry's suspicious behavior, contradictory statements, puzzling truck data, Suzanne's revealing texts, the 5 trash runs, and the tranquilizer dart theory, prosecutors brought their case to the district attorney. In May 2021, nearly a year after Suzanne's disappearance, Barry Morphew was arrested, a moment captured by a passerby's cell phone. He was charged with first-degree murder, tampering with physical evidence, and other allegations, held without bail, and pleaded not guilty. Suzanne's body was never found, but prosecutors presumed she was dead. Prosecutors laid out their theory in the arrest affidavit. Barry, unable to control Suzanne's insistence on leaving him, resorted to hunting and controlling Suzanne like he had hunted and controlled animals. Suzanne's sister, Melinda, acknowledged the pain for both families but hoped for a conviction. Barry hired high-profile lawyers, and in the summer of 2021, Judge Patrick Murphy held a preliminary hearing to assess the evidence. The defense vigorously countered the state's case. The clear plastic cap meant nothing, they argued, as its origin and how long it had been in the dryer were unknown. Barry's DNA wasn't even on it. The chlorine smell in the hotel room? A manager from the Holiday Inn had told agents that the smell was pre-existing, coming from the indoor pool directly below the room. Then, a bombshell. DNA evidence uncovered by the prosecution's own forensic team threatened to unravel the case. Agents had swabbed the inside of Suzanne Morphew's car and found male DNA on the glove box. It was not Barry Morphew's DNA, nor was it Jeff Libler's. It was a partial match to the DNA of an unknown male linked to 3 unsolved sexual assault cases in Tempe, Phoenix, and Chicago. This raised a disturbing question. Had Suzanne fallen victim to a sexual predator? In September 2021, Judge Murphy acknowledged 3 scenarios. Suzanne left willingly, Barry killed her, or someone else abducted and killed her. He dismissed the left willingly theory, citing Suzanne's strong love for her daughters. However, the abduction theory gained significant traction due to the mysterious DNA. Barry Morphew's defense now had a powerful argument. I'm not your killer. The man whose DNA is in my wife's car, tied to past sexual assaults, that's your killer. Despite his skepticism about the strength of the state's evidence, Judge Murphy found probable cause to go to trial, though he stressed that he was viewing the evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution. Barry, having spent months in jail, was released on a $500,000 bail, and he was fitted with an ankle monitor to track him within Chaffee County. Barry, flanked by his loyal daughters who stood firmly by him, walked out of jail a free man. Barry Morphew's murder trial was set for the 28th of April, 2022. However, complications arose. Judge Murphy recused himself, replaced by Judge Ramsey Lama. Barry's defense team, led by attorney Iris Aton, filed motions to sanction prosecutors for failing to produce discovery in a timely manner, including potentially exculpatory evidence like the male DNA found on critical items. In April 2022, Judge Lama ruled that prosecutors had repeatedly missed deadlines and failed to turn over important information. While not deeming the actions willful, the judge found the pattern negligent, bordering on reckless. The penalty was severe. 14 prosecution witnesses, including experts in DNA, cell phone, and vehicle data recovery, were barred from testifying. Law professor Ya Gruber, who had closely followed the case, noted that proving first-degree murder without a body, blood evidence, or eyewitnesses was already an uphill battle, even before these sanctions. On the 19th of April, 2022, District Attorney Linda Stanley filed a motion to dismiss the murder charges against Barry Morphew without prejudice, meaning the case could be refiled later. In her motion, the DA cited the court's decision to bar key witnesses and the lack of Suzanne's body as reasons they could not move forward at this time in good faith. Neither Barry, his daughters, nor his lawyer had advanced warning. DA Stanley's motion hinted that investigators were close to discovering Suzanne Morphew's body, specifically mentioning a remote, mountainous region near the Morphew residence that would be excavated after 5 feet of snow melted. The vast San Isabel National Forest, spanning 1.1 million acres, offered countless places to dispose of a body. The 4-hour gap in Barry's truck data on Mother's Day morning remained a central point of speculation. It's unknown if investigators ever recovered missing data or received a tip about the location of Suzanne's remains. Defense attorney Aton maintained Barry's innocence, stating, "Barry Morphew loves Suzanne Morphew. He loves her and he misses her, and he wants to know where Suzanne Morphew is." After the judge granted the motion to dismiss, Barry walked out of court a free man, again flanked by his loyal daughters. Suzanne's sister, Melinda, surprisingly agreed with the dismissal, hoping that more time would allow searchers to find Suzanne's body and secure a solid conviction. Melinda's message to her nieces remained steadfast. Their mother would never have left them. She loved them with her whole being. The mystery of Suzanne Morphew endures, a haunting question mark in the quiet Colorado mountains.